If you're just listening to this podcast right now, you don't realize that Hannah and I are donning our Catholic garments because we have a spotless confession that we will be hearing later on in the show. And I want to treat it with the dignity that it deserves. You did not ever do anything like confession, did you, Hannah?
No, I was never confirmed. We stopped going. We went to Catholic church when I was very small. And
I don't think I realized you had any connection.
Oh, my grandmother's Catholic, and my mom was kind of vaguely raised Catholic. And then I think my mom, when I was little, I mean, you know, she was in her 20s, so in her early 30s. So I think she was trying to figure it out. We went to Catholic church a few times when I was a kid, and now she's Wiccan, so we don't do that.
Well, I will say
you went to Catholic school.
I went to Catholic school. I was an altar boy before that. And here's the thing about confession, and this ties into the scrub jockey who does want forgiveness and absolution from us and the other scrub jockeys, because there was a sticky wicket when it came to confession for me. I'm a shy person anyway, but also it's sort of a weird thing to go into a confessional as a little kid and say to an adult man all of the things that you feel really bad about, that you feel guilt about, and also just to admit to things. You know what I mean?
Especially because, like,
that are
it's
secrets,
not like,
essentially.
And you know, you have the screen between you.
Well, that's what I want to get to, because you can put, like, whenever it's depicted in movies, there's always a screen between the confessor and the priest, which is the old school way of doing things. But by the time I was old enough to start going to confession, that was more supposedly of a choice. But really, they encourage you just to sit down across from the priest.
Oh, you have to make eye contact?
And I didn't.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You understand. And I did not like that. And the other problem, though, was even if I don't remember in what way they encouraged us to do that, but they did. So I already felt like I was kind of breaking the rules if I went the old school way of sitting behind, like, sort of the wooden screen where you have anonymity. But the thing is, there is no anonymity. I went to a small church in the country outside of Cleveland, and I was an altar boy, and my family was very involved with the church. And, like, Father Dunphy was, like, I knew Father Dunphy. We would, like, hang out, like, because I was an altar boy, and he was my whole family really adored him. He was a great priest. He was kind of a younger priest who came to the church.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Priest.
Yeah, a little bit of a cooler priest. Like, I don't know if that would fit today's standard of it, but he let his. I will say this. I was always very afraid of dogs growing up, like really afraid. Sure. Even small dogs and everything, they would corner me and I'd be afraid, and they could just smell the fear on me. The first dog that I think I really liked was Father Dunphy's dog, and I remember and I can't remember her name now, but she was a golden shepherd, and I remember him just kind of walking. I was in the church doing something, like kind of off hours or something in the middle of the day with my family, and Father Dunphy just walked in the main doors, like at the back of the church, and his dog came racing up the aisle, and we all said hello to this golden retriever, and I couldn't believe I saw a dog in a church, which blew my mind. And I love this dog. This is a golden retriever, right? Like, it's just the sweetest dog. And so anyway, I definitely had this bond with Father Dunphy. The whole family did. So to go behind the screen, this is, I don't know why I got into dog talk. My point is, we knew each other. To go behind the screen, he would know my voice. He would know my mannerisms. He would know the way I speak. Like, there's no anonymity there.
Right.
And
that's sort of what I was getting at, where, like, the idea that it's not like you're dropping in, you know, to a big city and you're like just hopping into confessional with whoever and unburdening yourself to a probable stranger. If you're from a small parish, like, you know who's on the other side. However, the eye contact, the just sitting across from the priest and being like, "Hey, Father, so I looked at a nudie mag. I, you know, like, whatever. I stole some
Would
candy.
that I were. I didn't have any access to that
stuff. I pulled my sister's hair, like, whatever it was. Like, I can't imagine. I know, absolutely.
Yeah, but I bring up that anonymity thing because that's sort of what's going on with this confession that our listener left on the voicemail line. They didn't leave their name. And I'll be honest with you, when I hit play on it, I didn't know who it was. But then at the very end, I'm like, oh, I know you. I know who you are, and you have
Father
sinned.
Walsh over here.
And we will find out if we will. Is the word absolution? I think that's the word, right? That's what we'll have to figure out if we will absolve our scrub jockey of her sins. But before we get into that, I don't know. We're sort of talking about morals and ethics. And did you say you have an ethical question? No, an etiquette question for us.
It's a bit of an ethical question, too,
okay.
But it's an etiquette question. Okay. If you have a friend and you know that this friend is not an especially tidy person.
Okay.
And if they are going through like a tough time in their life, and you know that probably helping them clean a part of their home, help them clean out their car, would make them feel better. What is the way to offer that in a non-judgmental manner? Is there one?
Well, let me question a little bit of the premise here for real. And this gets into some kind of serious stuff because one of the caveats you said there setting that up was it will make them feel better. And I'm wondering if you know that. Because here's one thing that I'm sort of... It's really, really difficult for me to wrap my brain around this. But I know that in the way it drives me absolutely bonkers, the way Genevieve will just sort of leave or not see messes, you know? It's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that some people actually don't want you to clean up the mess. Not only do they not want to clean up the mess, like I think I really irritated my friend a while back because I was feeling very puttery at a house party. And it wasn't my friend who was hosting, by the way. He was very happy with this. I found myself, maybe because I was just feeling socially awkward, I was just cleaning all the dishes. We had a whole bunch of food out, and there's like kind of heavy grazing, let's put it that way. And people all had their dishes. And what I was doing was sort of cleaning the dishes between rounds.
Yeah.
And my buddy said to me, he's like, hey, I'm still using that plate. I'm like, I know, I'm just cleaning up for you. I'm like, grab another one right there. I'm just kind of keeping them clean. He's like, no, I wanted to use that plate again. And there's no reason for it. There were no sauces. He's just like... I don't want to grab a clean plate. Like, it's just for whatever reason. And I sort of realized that, like, sometimes it's not even just, hey, Genevieve, I wish you'd clean this thing or something. It's like, no, I want my milk glass here. And I don't want you to take the milk glass away. I will refill it later. And I want sometimes the assumption that people will be happier when things are cleaned around them, even if they don't have to do the cleaning themselves, is a false notion.
I think a lot of times, though, that is balanced on the premise that, like, they're in a livable situation.
Okay, so this is rough stuff.
So this is, okay, so I don't.
And is there any concern that this person will hear it?
I don't think so, but I don't know. Okay.
Okay, well, I will tread respectfully.
I will just say, a friend of mine recently had a tragic personal loss.
Oh,
and
no.
I was spending some time with her and her kiddo. And we were saying goodbye and putting her kid in the car. And as she opened her car door, literal garbage fell out into the street because her car has so much trash in it. And I just, first of all, I could not help myself. I had to bend over and pick up the garbage that fell out of the car into the street. Yeah. But I was like, how do I offer, like, I would gladly... And this is not from a judgmental space. This is literally so that your car is not just full of garbage. And so your child can be in the car.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And also just so that you... Because also the first thing she said as she opens it is like, oh, don't mind this. Like, I haven't had time to deal with my car being... And I was like, of course you haven't. You've been going through a personal tragedy. I am not judging the state of this car. I would love to help, though, because I am personally not experiencing a tragedy at this moment. Yeah. And I have the wherewithal to grab a garbage bag and spend 15 minutes that would be negligible to me, but might provide some relief. Like, this is not emotional support garbage in this car, right? This is not load bearing. This is just a thing that I know she has not had the time and the emotional space to deal with. Because again, she also has a child and I don't have one of those either. So like, but I don't know how or if there is a way to provide or offer that kind of help.
Can I jump in and say,
yes,
and I understand why maybe in that particular moment there were other factors that wouldn't have allowed it, and you maybe weren't thinking that way. But I think that if you're going to make this offer, do it in the moment like that would really help. Like, I sort of feel like if you reach out now and say, hey, I've been thinking about your car,
about your nasty car.
It'll sort of like, it'll be clear that it was sort of living in your head a little bit.
Right.
But maybe if you have another opportunity where something like that, if you get in the car or if she mentions it, you can just say, hey, I definitely don't want to be pushy about this, but it occurred to me, I have a lot of bandwidth. Do you want me can I just do you a favor and just run this up to the brown bear? And I think a key thing here is also, like, maybe you don't even take it to the brown bear, but by de-emphasizing any of the labor that you would put into it, which I know you're happy to do anyway, but by not like saying, hey, let me take an afternoon to clean the car for you, just say, hey, you know what? I was just thinking that would be perfect. Can I just help you out a little bit by running your car to the brown bear, or would that be pushy to you? Because I'm really happy to do it. And they know you. They probably know. I'm guessing they know you have a podcast about cleaning. If you do it in the right way, in the right moment, I think it'll come off as not pushy, as long as you also sort of acknowledge, or would that make you feel weird? Because I totally understand that.
Because, like, in that moment, we were saying goodbye, so, like, it wasn't the right time to offer. But, again, it did put it, like, I was like, if I see her again and we're sort of kind of in the same place, like, can I just, like, if at that point we were on a public street, but if we were, like, in my driveway or her driveway, if I could ask, like, would it be helpful for you for me to go run in real quick, grab a garbage bag? And, like, I'm not even trying to wash the car. I really just would pull the garbage out, which is just a thing that she has not, like, do you want to go, like, run your, like, instead of putting your kid in the car right now, we take 10 extra minutes, you go change your kid, do whatever you have to do, like, take 10 minutes yourself, and I grab a garbage bag real quick and just, like, just pull all the stuff out real fast, like, and you don't have to look at it, you don't have to sort through it, not, like, I will just, the things that are clearly wrappers and used whatevers, and it would take, because it's not even really about the time, it's about the wherewithal and about the sort of, like, emotional capacity in that exact moment when you have it. And so my question also then is too, like, because I cannot imagine asking someone for that kind of help. Like, I can't imagine being like, could you help me clean out my car? Like, I don't think most people would do that. My real question is, though, what is if having it done would be a relief because you just have more room in your car to put groceries or whatever, how do you bridge that and make that offer? Yeah. And is that offer ever appreciated too? Because also, like, I wouldn't want someone to make that offer, but that's because for me, cleaning out my car is a very personal thing because it's something I also, I don't know, it's not something I would want someone to do for me. But if you're the kind of person who really would love it if your car just suddenly was less, I just don't know how to. And again, also because, like, when someone that you know is going through a hard time of any sort, and you know that cleaning is falling by the wayside, if you don't want to just throw money at the problem, if you don't want to hire, like, because I wouldn't want to be like, oh, can I hire someone to come clean for you? Because that also makes it sound worse than it is. And if it's like a volunteer service that I would like to provide for you, because what you don't have right now is time and emotional wherewithal, and what I do have right now is time and emotional wherewithal, this is a way I could spend it. Like, it doesn't seem to me like something that anybody would ever ask for, but it does also seem like there are times where it would be helpful to have it be offered so you could accept or decline.
I think that the moment is really important. I know I'm just sort of repeating what I said before, but I think that, you know, if you open up the car door and a cup falls out or something, if they say, oh, sorry about this, like, even a small little thing of, like, they acknowledge, like, oh, sorry about this, or, you know, and again, you want to make sure there's absolutely no shame involved here because that's not what it's about. No. And you also don't want to make it seem like, oh, well, for my comfort, because I'm a tidy person, I need your car clean. And so look for an opportunity for them to sort of just open the smallest crack of just like, oh, sorry about this, I just have not had a chance to get on this. Be like, hey, and you know what I mean? I always like to, I don't know, man. I don't want to get too much into my own personality, but one thing that I'm a very insecure person, socially and in a lot of different ways, but I think maybe socially, I think something that I tend to do is I tend to try to I don't know if this is right, but be disarming in a certain way.
Yes.
And often when I'm disarming, it's because I am sort of pointing back at myself in some way. If I'm trying to think of the social situations in which I do this, but I will often throw myself on some sort of self-deprecation, which is not always. You don't want to go around being self-deprecating all the time. It makes other people feel bad, like they have to pick you up and stuff. That's not the best thing in the world. But every now and then, if you can just sort of paint yourself as a little bit kooky, just be like, if they're like, oh, sorry, I just haven't had time to do this, and you're like, hey, I'm kind of a freak who loves cleaning things. Would it be helpful for you if I just like did a once over on your car? But I do think waiting for the right moment and making it and putting it on you as kind of like, hey, but not to the degree that it's kind of like that they feel like, oh, she doesn't want to be in my car because of this. Like you're doing it for yourself, but more this is kind of like, hey, you have, like as Genevieve will say about me sometimes, make my disease work for her.
Truly. And that's kind of it too, because I do feel like in, even in situations that aren't, maybe quite so as intense as this particular one, but in general, like we do have so much shame around like how clean we keep things. And this is what made me think about it too with our confession we're about to get. We have so much sort of shame and personal feelings pent up and bound up around how we keep things. But at the same time, I just feel like household tasks are something that is so easy to get on top of you when you are having any kind of a hard time, right? If you have lost your job, if you like, and we are all in a hard time right now. It's a hard time to be a person. And I feel like I would love to be able to, again, instead of throwing money at a problem, if I have a friend who I know, again, has like lost a job or is like going through something, or I have a family member who just is really overwhelmed with their kids or whatever, I would love to be able to offer a service that, like you said, like makes my disease work for me. And that is something that not only do I not mind doing, like I would enjoy to do, it would give me something because the process of it is something I like and am good at, but also is something that could be helpful, but it just doesn't seem like something that anyone would ever ask for because of this massive amount of like cultural shame around cleanliness. And so I wish if you are my friend in real life and this is a thing that would be helpful to you, I wish you would just ask me. Literally ask me to come over and clean your bathroom. Like I would like it. If you are having a hard time and you know that I have extended myself in any way I've ever said, like, if you need anything, let me know. I mean that, and specifically what I mean is, can I clean for you? If that's a thing that would make you feel better, like I wish people would ask me for that.
You know what the real son of a gun is about this? And I was thinking about this. I think you hit on something really important, which is like the kind of the shame that is wrapped up with cleanliness, and like to whatever degree on this show, if we get jokey about other people's living standards or whatever, like I don't know, I try to walk a line of being honest about that stuff and having some fun with that stuff, but also not contributing to actual shame that some people feel. I know I've heard from like listeners or like kind of potential listeners who's like, I don't know if I want to listen to your show because I feel bad about being a slob or whatever.
People will tell me they don't want me to be in their house because like, when I tell them I have a podcast about cleaning, they're like, oh gosh, you should never come to my house. I'm like, it's not about that. It's about it is about my freaky ass brain that when I can't handle what's going on in my life, I clean about it. That's why I'm like this.
But let's talk about the stigma, because I think I have a pretty good analogy here. And again, this is just kind of a bummer. I'm not saying we can solve it, but like if somebody were to say to you, hey, I really like cleaning. Do you want me to? I could swing by sometime. What the hell? Did you just heard a thunk, and then I looked over, and your face was like you.
I was trying to move my coffee jar out of the way. Anyway, sorry. Yes,
everything's okay though, right? No coffee stains.
No.
I was just gonna say that like. It would be weird and tied up in a sort of shame and stigma if you were to say, hey, you know what? I love cleaning. I could come over someday and kind of have a house cleaning day with you. That would feel a little bit weird. But I know, I mean, I literally, this is a real life example. I have friends and people I don't even know all that well who've been to parties at my house who are very into gardening on a quasi-professional level. And they said, hey, here's some advice on this thing. Move it to a different part of your yard. And literally have said, if you'd like, I could come over and we could do an assessment and we could talk about things. I could help you out. There's no shame in that. That's just kind of like, hey, my friend likes gardening and has some expertise and would enjoy spending a day doing this with me. But we don't apply that to cleaning because we've set it up in society, maybe rightfully, maybe partially just culturally as it's this sort of stigmatized and also just like odious thing, like cleaning the house. Who wants to be cleaning the house?
And I think there's also that difference too between like cleaning and organizing. Like we talk a lot, if there's a, an area of your home that's always a wreck. If you have a table, you have an end, like in my house, and again, we also will talk about, it is not like we actually live in perfectly clean houses. Like,
no, trust me, man.
I don't have the chair. We talk a lot about like the laundry chair in the bedroom. I don't have a laundry chair. I have the top of a dresser. And it is because I do not have sufficient closet space and I need a new dresser that actually works. My current dresser used to be Keith's dresser and I just have it because furniture is expensive and it only has 3 drawers and it cannot handle the clothing I keep in a dresser. And so my like kind of clean stuff that is just too much to be in my dressers sits on top of it. There's a pile of clothing most of the time on top of this dresser. I fucking hate it, but until I buy a new dresser, like it's not going to get solved. And it's not because I'm a messy person necessarily. It is because I don't have a good solution in that space right there. And I have made other closet solutions. I have changed up other things. I have fixed other parts of the way I organize my clothing. I don't have a lot of clothes that hang because I'm a garbage person who mostly wears athleisure and shirts. Like I'm not wearing like blouses. So most of my shit just goes in a drawer or is like running clothes.
Are you capable of saying blouse in a normal voice?
No, because I'm not. No, because I'm not that kind of person. But and so I know that that's the issue. I have this traffic jam of clothing, and it piles up on top of this dresser, and I hate it. But it is because I have not done the thing that would fix it, and it's not because it's not a moral failing. It is just that dressers are expensive. I haven't found one I liked. We have to sort of agree on what style it's going to be. Also, furniture, like everything else.
I don't see Keith really having a lot of opinions on that, though.
He's very laid back about
like,
decor,
so just
of course.
Chill, bro. Like, whatever
like,
you want,
you found something
sweetie.
on the side of the road? Cool. That's wow, how eclectic. Hell no. No, when I told him, when I was like, I need a new dresser. I really do need a new dresser. This one it's too small. It doesn't work. It doesn't have the kind of like drawers that I want. Clothes get stuck back behind the drawers. I have to pull the drawer all the way out to find shit that got stuck back there. I didn't even tell him that I was looking for one. I asked him to find one for me because I was like, you have such stronger opinions about how it looks. So I was like, if I tell you what I need, can you find one that you like?
Right.
Because again, fully my dresser, but I need him to find one that he likes how it looks, because like if I just pick one out and order it, there is a 95% chance he's going to see it and be like, wow, I hate that. Yeah. And then he's going to hate it forever. And every single time he looks at it, he's going to hate it. And it doesn't matter if it works well for me because it doesn't fit. It doesn't look right. So like it's a whole thing. But when you have those areas of your house where you have a chronic mess, disorganization, whatever, it's not a moral failing. It's because it's a failing of systems. And the question is whether or not you've identified it and what you're doing about it. And currently I'm not doing anything about it because we still haven't found a dresser we like, because like everything else also, furniture has been 100% enshittified, and finding a decent piece of furniture that doesn't cost a mortgage payment is impossible to do. All of which is to say, if I go to someone's house and they have an end table that is just piled high with mail and other odds and ends, my brain is immediately going to be like, oh, I bet that's a problem area for you because this is just a thing that you haven't figured out a structure for, of like, where do those things go, right? If your keys are always just on the dining room table, get a key hook. If your dog leashes are just in a pile somewhere that are a mess, get some hooks or get an organizer to put your dog stuff on, right? Like these are, and you don't always have to buy even something new. Look around your house, repurpose something, to figure out a solution to it. But again, if I went to someone's house and I was like, hey, it looks like you have an organizational issue here. Can I help? That would be rude as hell.
Yeah, I agree. But if you're like, hey, gardening, I love gardening, right, it would be like very different. Hey, I realized as you were talking about relationship stuff, my mind wandered a tiny bit, and I thought about something that's on my mind like literally right now because of something I just saw upstairs. And it's a huge shift in the conversation, but if you don't mind.
Let's go.
Because I think you're going to have an answer to this that is just slightly outside my grasp. And it does have, nothing's wrong, by the way. This is not me bashing on my partner or anything. But A lot of the talk on the show lately has been about us adjusting to having a puppy in our home.
Sure.
And one of the very first things we did, kind of with your voice in my head a little bit, was we took a bunch of hand towels, like kitchen towels, that were like kind of the lowest tier, like they're our oldest ones, and we just dedicated them and said, okay, these are going to be cleaning up pee inside the house towels, right? And because I am slightly deranged, like I have a better sense of what the towels are. I didn't do that thing where I take a marker and write floor on it or anything. I just know it's like, okay, all of the ones that were these stripy towels are now the pea towels, as well as any eclectic, to use your word again, the towels that we sort of had like, hey, somebody gave us a gift and inside the gift was a towel with a little cat saying,
sure,
I'm positively perfect or whatever. That's a pea one, you know what I mean? And Genevieve had a little silly towel she got a long time ago that says bless this mess or something along the lines of it. She just picked it up, and so like, okay, that's a pea towel. So to me, I know which ones are and which ones aren't, and it's important to me, very much so, not to get these confused. I should just label them. But I didn't. But
didn't we just have this conversation we talked about this in my house, where like I was like, oh, Keith keeps using the people towels on the dog, and I was like, how does he not know they're the people towels?
Right,
and then we realized it's because only I know which are which, because it is a rubric I have created in my own head and never expressed to this poor man.
Yeah, and I express it to Genevieve, but I also don't expect her just to know.
Sure.
And so anyway, don't expect a lot of tension in the story, just this weird thing that I kind of can't get over, and I think you're going to help me explain why. So I have this pile of towels. We also, unfortunately, I threw a couple of bath towels on this pile because I was graduating those out of my rotation anyway, as we've been talking about, but I sort of saw them as, when we need to dry her off. Lucy comes in, we had to be in the rain because she was going to the bathroom, maybe dry her off a little bit. So I could cut those up into smaller towels. They're not super convenient for cleaning up messes. But here's the deal. I've been doing tons and tons of laundry, as I like to do anyway, been maintaining this pile pretty well. But yesterday it was just, I don't know, every now and then you want to talk about the sort of chaos of life. Things were just really piling up on me yesterday. And I realized, I went to clean up a little accident that Lucy had as we were rushing out the door. We had our first dog sitting experience because we're going to go to a concert, and we're kind of rushing around like my parents when they're leaving me with a babysitter back in the 80s, sort of an experience I've literally never had before. Like, the dog sitter is going to be here. Oh shoot, we don't have the clean dog towels. They've all been, accumulating in the washing machine. We just throw dirty stuff directly in the washing machine until the load is ready. And all that is to say, I realize, we don't have the proper towels. They're all dirty right now. And so I just went upstairs a second ago to check on Lucy. Genevieve is running some errands, and I washed all of those towels yesterday, but they're still in the dryer. And I see that Genevieve, probably out of a little bit of frustration, has, instead of like figuring out which towels to use and which ones not to use, totally on me, not on her, she just said, I'll just go out to the garage and grab some of those towels that I like to use. And I've told her, like, I really don't like you. I didn't say I don't like you using those towels. I'm just like, it just bothers me that she uses a certain kind of towel to clean up accidents.
And they're people towels?
No, it has nothing to do with cleanliness or anything. And I actually hope I'm in the wrong here, because I want to be, but I have a hang up on it. She has no problem using those microfiber yellow cloths that you just buy at Home Depot. They're like microfiber, but they look like, from a distance, like terry cloth.
Yeah.
But they're actually
like
microfiber, like shop cloths. Yeah. They didn't. I don't feel like shop cloths were all microfiber growing up, but now they have that feel to them a little bit, which I think you've expressed a distaste for how microfiber feels in your hand. It doesn't really bother me that much, but the idea of using it. And again, if I had never touched these things, they're the size of a washcloth.
Sure.
Basically, they're yellow. They come in many colors, but like the ones that you just grab at Lowe's or Home Depot, you can grab a 20 or it's like a 12 pack of these things. They're all over the place now. Any kind of work site, you see them. I actually think there's a little problem with them, which is sometimes the yellow will rub off on something if you're not careful.
Yeah.
They're very highly sort of stained or whatever.
Yeah.
Pigmented. But anyway, that has nothing to do with it. It's not about ruining anything. I just don't think that the job of these things is to absorb. It feels so weird to me. And like as opposed to an old dish towel that is truly a terry cloth towel, or if they still call it that, you put it down and it absorbs, and then you go with the enzyme cleaner and you clean up after it. There's something about using these microfiber cloths that seems like, as Bart Simpson once said, flying a kite at night. It just seems wrong to me, and I don't know why.
No, I get this. I mean, it doesn't seem like the right tool for the job, right? Like it's like using Windex on a stain on upholstery. You're like, maybe it'll get the job done, but I don't think it's the right. And also, we have the right tools. Here's the other thing about those like thin, because they're thin, right?
I don't know if they're. I wish I had one in front of me. I don't know that they're super thin. Yeah, I guess they are thinner. Like they don't appear thin because they're fuzzy. You know, they have the fuzziness. But you're right. But the whole thing is not. Yeah, it doesn't have that real absorption.
They're more for polishing, wiping, dusting.
Dusting. I use them for dusting. That's what I use them for. Yeah.
I don't think of them so much for, like you said, picking up liquid.
Yeah.
And certainly not in the kind of one swoop. You know, you have a little puppy puddle. Yeah. You want to kind of just come in with the one swipe, spray the thing, one more swipe,
absorb.
And call
You throw the whole towel on it. You watch it absorb into the towel. And then especially on carpeting, I don't think this stuff is going to absorb it as much. Like if it's on one of these carpets, I would throw a dish towel down, an old dish towel, you know, and then I would step on it a few times and really let it like kind of absorb as much from the carpet. Yeah. And again, I was actually hoping you were just going to say, oh no, those are fine, those are great. But there's just something in my brain that just feels wrong about using them. Not like she's doing anything wrong, but I just don't like to think about it. I have a mental hang-up.
There's also different sort of piles of microfiber. Some microfiber is very absorbent. Like some microfiber can pick up a lot of liquid and you're like, whoa, that's why. Like I have a microfiber hair towel that it really does make my hair dry faster. So that's cool. But other microfibers don't do that. And the ones you're talking about, I think, are the ones that really don't. They are more like chamois. They're for like dusting and, you know, wiping, but not really absorbing. So I understand them feeling like maybe they're not getting the job done as well. But also then when you're washing them, washing microfibers does reduce their efficacy over time, I believe. So there's also something I feel like too about going through those, or maybe you need more than one of them to get that job done. I could see, I don't think you are fully incorrect in this feeling just because, again, I'm coming back to it feeling like the wrong tool for the job, which makes me uncomfortable.
I will say I'm looking at, I mean, they do sell microfiber cloths for cleaning up after pets.
But I think they're the higher, I think they're the
maybe a higher
even
pile.
Squishier, higher pile, whatever it is, like more absorbent ones than like shop cloths, right?
Yeah.
That is a difference in, it's like, because technically, you know, the wipes that you use to clean your glasses are microfiber too, but you wouldn't use that
those
to
are
clean
very
up a
different.
puddle.
Those don't have any of the fuzzy at all.
But that's microfiber, right? So like to say like, oh, all microfiber does the same thing, like that obviously is not true.
Very different.
So I don't know. I think if it's getting the job done, if things are getting clean, then I guess you can try and convince yourself it doesn't matter. But I do understand also then the next time you go to use one of those for dusting, you might have that feeling of like, was this a pea cloth not that long ago? Do I not love the idea of dusting with, even though it's been washed, like it was a pea cloth? I now have a feeling about it, you know?
Yeah. That I think I can sort of manage. And again, that's one of those things where I like, of all the things that I sort of like kind of complain about, I don't want to make it sound like this is a huge complaint. It's almost just like there's something weird going on in my brain about using those things.
I mean, I get it. Also, though, now that I think about it, so Lola has a towel that lives in our car for when the dog who did not know how to swim for the first 2 years of her life, and now when she sees a river, it goes apeshit.
Fun!
She loves the river now. I took her to the river last week, and she loves it. She's still not a good swimmer. She's a terrible swimmer. She is not buoyant.
Keep an eye on her then.
Yeah, she's really she gets like a little far out, and then once she kind of can't touch her stubby legs to the ground anymore, she just starts going, and then she swims back. Anytime we're in water, I am fully prepared to be in water with her. It is a joint activity. But so now I have to keep a towel in the car because if there is a body of water, she will try and put herself in it. And it is a microfiber, but it is a specific dog fur. And because her fur is very dense, like I need a highly absorbent towel for her. And so I have a special dog towel that is highly absorbent, and that's microfiber. But it's not the same. And I wouldn't use that towel to clean up pee because that's a dog fur towel.
Yeah.
Not a dog output
and
towel.
And you know that like, she would care.
She would care deeply. But like that, I mean, I don't know. We're allowed to have our hangups on how we do things. There's things that I will watch the way Keith cleans things and I'm like, okay. Again, but as long as it gets the job done, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, and again, I think that was a story about me having a weird hang up, but also, and it was on me because I should have just stayed on top of the laundry more and not had to like have her go and grab those things because that's the thing, we have tons of these towels. They were just accumulating. It's
just what you have around.
And I need to move on with the show, but I just thought of something else too, which is I told you on the last episode that I finally found a supplier for my own personal bath towels, which is Home Goods in my neighborhood. And so I did go there and buy some replacement towels. I'd been using my bath towels that I bought new for maybe, I feel like it might be getting near 10, well, more than 5 years, I would guess. And, but I was always like, oh, yeah, I should graduate out into some better towels eventually when I find some, and then I'll donate these or maybe now turn some of them into dog towels. And I did that. But I didn't go hog wild. I bought 2 sets of towels, meaning one bath towel and one hand towel, and they're really fluffy. They're like that really super soft fluffy, which I know you're not super into. I think Keith likes the fluffier towels, but I've been loving it. I feel like I'm in a spa when I get out of the shower. But as I mentioned, I fell behind on laundry just the past couple of days, but it's amazing how fast it piles up. And I got out of the shower this morning and I realized and there wasn't a towel hanging there and I went under the sink to grab one. I'm like, oh shoot, I only bought 2 towels because I'm like, I'm constantly doing laundry. I don't need a whole cupboard full of them. And I was like, I guess I got to use one of my old towels. Now, I'm talking about old towels, a towel that was in heavy rotation
like a week ago.
Every day of my life, about a week or 2 ago. And I pulled this gray towel out from under my sink and I'm drying myself off with it, and I'm just like, what am I doing? It was so old and scratchy feeling, and I was like, what the hell? I have grown accustomed to a higher quality drying experience. But anyway.
It is funny, too, like how things, as soon as you get the new one in the rotation, the old one is just like...
That I've used like, every day.
Every day. It's perfectly good.
And it was totally fine, and suddenly it's not.
Dead to you, I know.
All right, well... It is time to check out what the Scrub Jockeys have to say to us.
You went and found a sound effect for us to go to church.
I was doing that during our conversation.
Oh my gosh. All right, welcome, parishioners.
Let's wait for the hook here, because right now it just sort of sounds scary. Can we get into is the beat going to drop? There it is. It's Holy, Holy, Holy. I thought I remembered that from my youth. Here.
Welcome, congregants.
There it is. The beat dropped. All right. Welcome, congregants. Yes, we are gathered here today to hear the confession of a scrub jockey, and I will hand it over to her now. I'm trying to stop the music. It's coming from something else. Not a well-planned out bit there. Okay, here we go. Take it away, Anonymous.
Forgive me, scrub jockeys, for I am a mess. This is my first confession. 1, I haven't done laundry in 3 weeks. 2, my bathroom sink is clogged, and I don't plan on unclogging it. 3, I left dishes in my sink when I went out of town, and now they're even more gross. And 4, I didn't realize that I left coffee grounds in the coffee maker, and so the little basket full of grounds got all moldy. And then when I went to rinse the mold out, I saw the spores go into the sky. And then a few days later, all of the plants on my countertop that were water propagations started to die. I'm hoping my honesty will overpower my executive dysfunctions. Okay, bye!
That's how I have to end all of my confessions with the priest.
Yep.
Okay, bye. Now listen, there's a lot of interesting things to talk about there, but I want to start with one thing that I know growing up Catholic, and I don't know if our anonymous listener has this experience or not, but in the church, but one of the very first things you learn with the sacrament of confession, and it is like your first confession is like a big thing. I think you go to class and stuff and you learn about it. But the thing is, you tell your sins to the priest, and the priest is a conduit to God, and the God will then forgive you. But there's a very key thing about the forgiveness, the divine forgiveness. It's only granted if you're confessing these things with the acknowledgement that you will try not to continue those sins. So in other words, you can't just go in
right?
there.
It's about contrition.
Actual contrition. You can't just say, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. I pulled my sister's ponytail, an example that you gave before. When you know damn well it's your favorite thing to do, and the second you leave that confessional, you're going to run out to the car and you're going to pull. If that is in your heart, the confession is null and void. Jesus ain't got no time for that, as they say in the church, famously.
I've heard that.
And so I'm a little concerned about our confessor saying that she has no intention of declogging her sink. Now, this is not me speaking. I want to be very clear.
Right.
I am not saying this in a judgmental way. I am not saying this in any way as a shame.
Cloth, and by that I mean a man of the terry cloth.
I am saying this as the conduit, if in this case not to God, but to who is our patron saint of cleaning, and why can I never think of his name? His books are right
Don
behind
Aslett,
me.
yeah.
As a conduit to
Father
Don
Aslett.
I just want you to know that those are the rules, and so we can't offer forgiveness, or Aslett cannot. I like that Aslett is also so close to Aslan, which is a stand-in for Jesus, I believe, in the Narnia books.
Yes.
Aslett, I don't believe, will forgive if the intentions are not behind the confession, for whatever that's worth. Also,
well, that's why you perform acts of contrition. So now we need to prescribe acts of contrition, right? That's part of confession,
that is very
isn't
true.
it? Where it's like you have to say however many Our Fathers, however many Glory Bees, and then
and
acts
also
of contrition.
and sometimes it is an action, like in order you will say this many Hail Marys, and you will apologize to your sister. For whatever. And so maybe the declogging of the sink, but also because I believe I know who this anonymous person is, because even though she was behind the screen, I think I know her well enough. She's still a member of the flock. And so I think I know who she is. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to say, what's going on with that clog, and could I be of help? I'm no clog expert or anything, but I got some doohickeys or whatever, so I will leave it up to this friend to reach out to me if she wants a hand with it. I'd be happy to explain. I can't promise you that I'm going to come in there and definitely fix it, but I could definitely give it a go.
Can I also provide a really fast potential, maybe a Hail Mary, one might say? If you are also planning on maybe cleaning out that coffee pot, giving it a run through, because it sounds like it's like a percolator. She said it's the basket, and the basket got moldy, which, by the way, have done. Again, we are not holier than thou. Have done.
You think it's only percolators? Because my coffee maker, which is a standard coffee maker, I use paper filters, but it also comes with a reusable basket. She might be talking about one of those things.
I guess I mean like a coffee maker, where you put water in and then it gets hot and then it makes the coffee, right?
Okay.
So if one thing you wanted to do post mold in the basket was run just some hot water, just run a wash through it, put water in it, run it through with no grounds just to make sure there's nothing gunky backed up in there, you could then take the hot water that has come through, that is now in the coffee pot, that's not coffee, it's just hot water, walk that over into your sink and dump that down when it's really fresh and super duper hot. See if that unclogs that sink, because one of the first steps to take when you are trying to unclog a sink is just hot water, because a lot of times like a boiling water can break down the fats that come from soap, that come from like just scum. Start there and see if that does anything. I'm trying to two birds, one scone here, and
nice, love that.
So that's just my first.
I now have do you know that I now have a mug that literally says that?
Do you really?
I do. PETA sent me a mug that says "Feeding two birds with one." PETA sent. We have a listener on TBTL who, at first, I thought was just kind of reacting to our show because they were using AI to see any time that PETA was mentioned, and we use that language, like two birds, one scone things.
Sure.
And so this person who's a spokesperson regionally reached out, and I was sort of giving them a hard time, and then saying that that's not that they're not a real person, but that they're not really invested. Well, clearly this person is now a listener of the show and heard all about Lucy and sent me a very, very sweet care package from PETA with all these toys and a dog bed and like all these things. So anyway, and a mug that says feeding two birds with one scone. But also, I actually think the water should be a little bit hotter, though. You mentioned that. I would boil water in a tea kettle if you have one.
Theoretically, if it's coming out of your coffee pot, it's pretty. Like if you, and I'm talking like as soon as it's done, it's come through the coffee pot. It's maybe not at a full boil, but it's pretty hot. And then just give that a go real quick. We don't have to do a whole unclogging. You don't have to get in there with my most hated tool, the yellow plastic thingy.
Yeah, the Slim Jim for drains. Yeah,
I hate it so much, and I have to do it all the time. I get it. But beyond that, I want to say, as an ADHD girly who also often struggles with my own executive dysfunction issues, I get it. And there are two things that I try to do to just keep my proclivities for things getting icky from becoming potentially dangerous. One is that if there is a mold situation, much like the rules of Roadhouse, take it outside. If there is mold, if you see a spore, a fuzz, anything that is mold, just go outside. I don't care what the weather's doing. If this is a rule I have set for myself, and because, again, I have a brain that is fun, once I have set myself a rule, it's pretty easy for me to stick to it because it's self-ascribed. It didn't come from anybody else. So my rule is if I see mold, I'm going outside with it, just generally.
Because of these spores, I got to say, I'm really surprised. This is new information to me, this idea that, like, she thinks she released spores into the air that then hurt her plants. Is this something you have experience with?
No, that was a surprise. I was sure that she was going to say that it was from that. Then her actual plants got mold. Because that will happen. And the thing with mold is, like, if I did this the other day, I was cleaning out. I don't know why. I don't like to finish literally anything. Like, I am the person who leaves this much jam in the bottom of the jar and then just buys new jam. I know. And I do it, I do it with TV and movies too. I get 2 minutes to the end of a movie and I'm like, I know what happens next. I'm done.
Really?
Oh my God.
I'm that way with some TV series, but that's like,
the number of shows that I have never seen the actual finale of, I've watched every episode but the finale, and I'm like, I got it. I got the gist. I'm done now.
It's
like,
weird. I do that.
This
too.
is an issue with me. Books, I will read them to 89%, and then I'm like, I get it.
See, I can't do that. Books, I could hate the book, but once I started, I got to finish it.
I hate reading the last of anything. I hate finishing the last of any food. What if I want that last little bit, or what if somebody else wants it? Like, I'm terrified of finishing something and somebody else wanted the last of it.
Really?
Like, that's I have a real complex about that. So one of the things I was doing the other day when Keith was out of town was I was cleaning out the fridge, and there was like 3 jam jars in there that had 2 centimeters of just.
I hate
this.
Know. It's my worst nightmare.
I'm aware. Again, we are not putting ourselves above anyone by having the show. No. We're just talking through it.
Yeah.
So I took those jam jars outside because 2 of them had mold when I opened them.
Oh, rough stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Took them outside, garden hose, just hosed them out, and then they went right in the recycling or like went to the dishwasher, whatever I did with them. But so that's one rule for me. If I see mold, I'm outside. So this is just a little tip. If you see mold, clean it outside. I don't care what the weather's doing. 6 feet of snow.
What'd you do with the jelly jars? Do you save them and reuse
them? I will reuse some of them, depending on their shape, size, and potential uses. I will recycle most of them just because those are not shapes I need.
And I don't know how much jelly the average person is going through, but like they just accumulate too quickly. You know what I mean? Like, you can't save every glass jar that you get pickles or whatever in.
Yeah, and if I can't drink out of it, because a lot of my jars I drink out of them, or I put dog snacks in them. I have a lot of glass jars that have dog snacks in them, and that is in part also, that's a training tip, I have a little jar of dog snacks in every room of the
Yeah,
house,
that's
all over
smart.
the place,
Yeah.
so that whatever the thing we're trying to work on with the dog, I always have a little teeny thing right at hand.
Nice, that's smart.
It
yeah.
makes it's really helpful. So like I use jars for that. So that's one. Mold goes outside. What was the other one she said that? Oh, not doing laundry. Again, dude, I get it. Like one of the things I find that is really hard with laundry, and like you said, when it gets on top of you and it piles up, I will often give myself the grace to do one load. And I'll say, just do one load. Just do one load. See what happens. Just throw some into the wash. Don't leave it in the wash, because you could do that too. That does happen, and that's the worst.
Yeah.
So like throw it in the wash, and then once you've gotten that one load down, two things can happen. One, you already have a load done, and maybe that's all you do, and that's fine. And now you have chipped away at the Mount Everest of your laundry, and that is great. Or two, you have now spurred yourself into doing the laundry, and now you're going to do the rest.
Yeah,
of it.
once you're kind of
And
into it, yeah.
both of those are good outcomes. Like, those are both good outcomes. So if you can get yourself to just do one load, give yourself permission to do one load. And you know what else? Give yourself permission to go through and just pick out the things you want cleaned. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do it in, the layer of like tectonic plates that you have in your basket. Go through and pick out your 3 favorite shirts and your 2 favorite pairs of pants and all your undergarments, and just do that laundry, because that's all you want cleaned. That's fine. You don't
It also seems sort of self-regulating too. Like, you're just gonna need the clothes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, at some point, you're just gonna say, "Well, I don't want to wear dirty clothes," and I've already I already wore the tuxedo that I got for a wedding
I've worn
10
all
years
my
ago.
swimsuits as underwear, so I'm done with
exactly.
that. Like, I've burned through all my, again, like you were saying, like last week towels. Like, I've gone through all of the undergarments that used to be top tier and now are laundry day undergarments. Like, I'm out.
Right.
And so I think giving yourself permission to not face all 3 weeks of laundry. Just do the laundry you're going to need for the next few days and see what happens.
And see what happens. Yeah, it might end up being,
those are my acts of contrition. Those are my
all
3 acts of contrition.
Oh, go ahead. Review, because I'm going to add a 4th.
Run the coffee maker to make sure there's nothing backed up in there. Take the hot water, immediately dump it down the bathroom sink that's clogged. Just see what happens. 2, the next time we see mold spores, we go outside and we do the cleaning outside somehow. 3, what did I say? Do one load of laundry.
Do one load of laundry. And I would say 4, assuming that I'm correct in who this person is.
Call Andrew.
Well, not only that, you're supposed to come over with your little puppy and meet our little puppy. She still hasn't met Lucy. Come on over.
Well, why don't you go over to
Or I
her
go
house?
over there. We work on the
puppy play date.
Exactly. Whatever is the most comfortable for her puppy, I would say. I'm just learning the etiquettes of these things. Like, I don't know if it, you know what I mean, if it makes the other dog uncomfortable to bring a high energy puppy into her space or whatever, but it would be fun to have
Depends on the yard.
Also, I haven't seen you in a while.
If you can go outside and do a little bit of yard time, like, I think that helps too. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, okay. Anyway, I want to move on. We have time for one more voicemail today, and this is from listener Anya, who I think we heard from last week as well. And this gets at something. You bought a new stove recently, which you're loving, Jerry.
Love it.
And it's a flat top, glass top stove. And I had asked you, is it an induction or is it just regular? And I don't
know what that means.
You don't know. The induction is kind of a newer technology that everybody's really excited about, and it actually doesn't really get hot. It only gets hot when the metal pan, and you have to make sure it's a certain kind of, I don't know if it's stainless steel or what, but it does have to be a certain kind of metal, touches the burner. So it somehow uses space science to heat up the food, but the burner itself does not get hot, as our listener Anya, I think, is going to explain further. And I was doing a little Googling, and I believe this is Dr. Anya, by the way, who I believe has a background in physics.
Hey, Hannah and Andrew. This is listener, I think, number 21, Anya Guy. And I just want to explain the huge difference between cleaning an induction stovetop versus cleaning a glass electric stovetop, and why those two things are dramatically different tasks. An induction stovetop only heats the pan that is put on top of it using electromagnetic induction. It's a really cool technology, but that means the glass top itself is not being heated by a heating element. And so that means when stuff boils over or falls onto the stove, it does not get burned onto the glass. Whereas when you use an electric glass top, where there is an actual electric heating element underneath the glass, it is a ridiculous way to build a stove because there is this big gap between the thing you're trying to heat up, your pot, and the actual heating element. So a regular coil electric is by far superior than a glass top electric.
Sorry,
but
Hannah.
that's actually heating the glass, and
But
so
it's
that.
Hold on, I'd like to just take I would like to just take a little moment here and check in on you. Are you feeling okay? It does sound like Dr. Anya is going a little bit hard against your beloved stove
listen,
here.
My stove is only an improvement because it's not the fucking gas stove that I had before. I have had plenty of electric coil stoves in my life, and they were all fine. They were not an enormous pain in the ass to clean, but my gas stove was an enormous pain in the ass to clean. It is true that my new glass stove, it does take longer for things to heat up, but once it's going, it's a very consistent heat, which I like, and it's very easy to control. But it does take longer to like get up and going, and so you do have to sort of build in that time ahead of time. So that is true.
But that's actually heating the glass, and so that means when you have spills from anything that you're cooking, that's actually going to cook onto the stovetop, which makes a huge difference. I've had all different types of these stovetops, but I absolutely love my induction stovetop so much. It's so easy to clean, which I love that, but even more, I love that it is cooking as close to gas. I would say it's even more sensitive than gas in terms of like fine control of how to like keep something simmering at just the right level. So I love my induction stovetop because of that. And yeah, so I definitely am with Hannah on the glass induction stovetop, but I'm with Andrew that electric glass top stovetops are the worst thing that has ever happened to stove technology.
Wow,
See,
and that tough.
It just, even though the glass but when the glass, when I have a boil over or whatever and the glass gets dirty because the thing bakes on, it takes like 2 seconds of me using a sprinkle of Bon Ami and a little wipe and I'm good. Like I can get whatever has cooked off pretty quickly off. The thing I hated about the gas was having to deal with the big metal
You had the big,
grates.
heavy cast iron grates and stuff. And you're a small person. I think that has to do with it. That's just not an issue for me. I just pick those things up. Yes, they're heavy, they're clunky, but I pick them up and I clean underneath.
Well, the other thing, though, I hated, though, was the fact that, like, because then the cooktop underneath or where the heating element was, it's dipped down.
Yeah.
It was the way that the crumbs, I had to use my little vacuum to get the crumbs out because otherwise it was really hard to get the bits. It was always the bits that was hard.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I didn't like was having to clean around the heating elements themselves. I would like scrape my knuckles on the heating elements. Like, why am I getting a stove injury? And so that doesn't involve heat. Like, that's wild. So I think my glass I still prefer on the cleaning. Now, the induction cooktop is also the thing that doesn't come with an oven, correct? Like,
no, I don't. You're saying inductions don't come with ovens, and most of them.
Well, no, it's no. I mean, like, because there's a big movement now where the oven is separate from the cooktop.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, you know how like ovens are in the wall. You got an oven in the wall.
I guess
and
so.
then you
Some
have a
people have-
cooktop some in the
That's
island.
coming back.
Or...
That's funny. I think that is such a '70s thing.
That's
coming back
that's
now?
a yes.
Oh, okay.
And I think a lot of those are
nice,
induction heat. I think that's one of the reasons that induction that's like cooktops are separate. And we wanted also a new oven, and so like just what we were looking for was not gas and a new oven, and we had some oven needs we wanted, and so like the glass electric was sort of the only thing that was going to do that within our price range. But
wow, you really just blew my mind. Like I know this. I mean, I guess I know this, but you just took me back to my childhood. Yeah, our oven was like built into the wall. The oven was like built into the wall and the stovetop was somewhere else. Not because of induction or anything, but that was just like the look back then. It was kind of nice.
Yeah. And that's really a lot more common now, where induction cooktops it's just the stove. It is not the entire, it's not the range, right? We think of now the range as the cook, whatever you're cooking on top of, and the oven is all one appliance that you buy together. And we were going to that's what we got because our kitchen is pretty small. There is nowhere else to put an oven that is separate from the cook. So like we don't have that kind of technology space in we don't have an island. We don't have anywhere else to put it. Like my parents' house, even they have a cooktop and then the oven is in the wall across the kitchen. Yeah. And so that's another big part of the induction, like why induction is hot right now is because hot, so to speak, is because more and more people are arranging their kitchens differently. And it has to be like where you can put the hood fan and a bunch of other stuff. So,
and I do think it's I think the highest thing, though, the biggest driver for induction, though, is the rejection of gas for environmental and safety purposes.
Correct.
Which I know that we leaned against. Vives and I, we just really wanted to recapture the gas stove experience. So we actually just had a gas line installed for our new gas stove, which I know everybody just says we're crazy. And the people, I've never cooked with an induction stove top before, but like it's almost like a religion. It's almost like a cult. I feel like it's like, I'm trying to think of an example, a comparison of people talk about their induction stoves like somebody
it's like
who
how
just
people used to talk about CrossFit.
Yes, or somebody who just quit smoking or drinking or something. Like they're just like, I can't believe how and
best thing
people
I ever did.
Love it, and and so it's weird for me. I've never tried it, so I don't want to argue. And again, this is one of those things I don't want to argue that you should dislike your stove, Hannah, or that people should dislike their induction, or that gas is the only way. It's what works for all of us personally. We can like different things. But for me, the thing about induction, even after Dr. Anya explained all of that, I cook in a wok a lot. Like I make a lot of stir fries, I make a lot of fried rice and stuff like that. And I'm sure it's solved for. Like I'm sure that there are tons of people, probably James Beard award-winning chefs who use induction stovetops and make amazing things in woks. But for me, like it's literally the sort of flame aspect to it. When I think about cooking in a wok, it's like it's also the flame is sort of coming up the sides a little bit, just a tiny bit in my case, but like to more extreme examples for some other cooking. So like when you're cooking, like, and you're literally I'm lifting the wok up and like kind of stirring it around. And so if it loses its heat when you're removing it from actually physical contact with the flat glass, not only does it upset me from a sort of like I don't know, visceral or aesthetic standpoint. Like it also just seems weird. It's like, well, I'm picking this up and I'm sort of tossing the rice around, but there's still like heat underneath that is the flames coming up.
And I think the big difference, I think induction, as I understand it, and now thank you, Dr. Anya, for this explanation, is it is really fast to like boil. You can like your pasta and then
adjust very delicately.
Like,
I love that.
Your quinoa is going to be the perfect amount of tender because you are going to be able to simmer it and then let it like there's no guesswork. That's 100% true. And it is fast because again, my electric glass cooktop is slow to heat up. It does take a long time. I put oil in and I'm chilling.
And mine was slow to cool down too. That's one thing I didn't like about it. Like it was really hard to like kind of control the minutia in the moment the way Anya's talking about.
However, my electric cooktop and its griddle.
What is this voice? Who are you slipping into? Some sort of a mid-Atlantic 1940s.
Darling, let me tell you about my quesadilla 3000, which is what I call our griddle. I call it the quesadilla maker 3000 because it is literally the griddle top that came with our electric stove that I'm obsessed with, that I use literally every single day. And that is my favorite thing I've ever had, and it is wonderful, and it is so easy to clean. So, but it is true that when you have a boil over on the electric, because the glass is hot, it does cook onto it. But again, I would rather sprinkle some Bon Ami, give it a wipe, and have it be clean than have to deal with a gas stove ever again. I was very happy when we took the gas line out because we no longer have a gas bill. We don't deal with Northwest Natural. We don't have that issue. There are other benefits to gas, like if the power goes out, your gas range still works. So there's that. But I am I'm happy to have an all-electric house now, which is nice. And so, like, I think there's ups and downs regardless, whatever it is you need. But I love that explanation from, yes, Dr. Anya, who is a physicist, I believe. So thank you for that explanation. And also, if at any point you would like to explain the physics of literally anything else that has to do with the show, do call back anytime, because these are things that both Andrew and I are dumb shits about. So I feel very comfortable saying that about us.
Using the we pretty liberally there.
I'm sorry, Dr. Andrew, you're a physicist?
No, I don't know anything about anything. All right, everybody, thank you so much for your emails, for your voicemails, for your voice memos. You're about to hear an old-timey radio guy who talks a lot like Hannah when she's putting on that character, who's going to tell you how you can get a hold of us. I'm trying to think, is there anything we're looking for from our listeners as far as personal experiences? Last week on the show, we were talking a lot about lawn care and dealing with, having a presentable living lawn situation that isn't necessarily grass. I don't know if anybody has an experience with that. What are your stovetop experiences? For me, I knew I was out on the glass top when my hot chocolate boiled. I was making a big pot of hot chocolate for my volunteer gig. It boiled over. It was like one of the first times I used that stove when we first moved in here, and it was not a quick cleanup. In fact, I don't know if I ever got it quite right again, because it just cooked hot chocolate stickiness.
Yeah, the sugar. That is.
It ruined it.
When we first moved into our old place that had a glass stove, I remember Keith using Goo Gone to get something that had just,
that's smart. I don't know if I did
work.
that.
It did work really
yeah,
well, actually.
God,
The Goo Gone
Goo Gone
really did do it. So.
We should dedicate a show to Goo Gone, man. The uses are multiple.
Yeah, I need to get. We were talking about jars. I have some jars with some sticky labels, and I used to always use coconut oil, and I haven't been buying coconut oil because it's too goddamn expensive. At the point at which Goo Gone is cheaper than coconut oil, we have to have some real conversations about supply chains. Yeah. But now I'm just going for the weapons grade Goo Gone, I think.
Anyway, get at us, whatever you want to talk about. We're here to listen and never to judge, but sometimes to offer absolution. Hope you all have a great couple of weeks. We'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to the Spotless Podcast. If you have a question for Hannah and Andrew or some cleaning advice, call the Spotline at 508-HOW-WASH. That's 508-469-9274. You can also email them at spotlesspod@gmail.com. We'll be back soon. But until then, always remember, life is messy, but it doesn't have to be.